in the meantime, we are continuing to follow the big story out of Tucson, Arizona. The search for Savanah Guthrie's mom continues. Earlier today, there was a news conference, the Pima County Sheriff holding another update. During that news conference, though, not a lot of news was made. In fact, not much was learned of the investigation. But right about an hour after this news conference, new reporting started to come out, including from TMZ right here. They received an unverified ransom note today demanding a substantial amount for the return of Today anchor Savanah Guthrie's missing mom, Nancy. We have since contacted law enforcement. Story was developing and continues at this hour. So I want to go right now out to TMZ. TMZ's Michael Babcock joining us here with the latest. And Michael, this is a huge development. What do we know right now, and how are you guys working the story?
Hey, Mike, thank you for having me. Yeah, it was about mid-morning this morning when we get an email to our TMZ tip email box that, again, essentially says, look, we're the people behind behind the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, and we are demanding what was a large sum of money, Mike. Now, it wasn't to be paid in U.S. currency, but instead in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin. Now, look, whether or not the letter is a joke, bad, cruel joke from somebody, or it's legitimate, that obviously is now for law enforcement to try and figure out and determine. We, upon receiving this, immediately turned it over to them, as the state and local and the federal authorities obviously do everything they can to find her, Mike. But so you had the demand for the large sum of money to be paid in Bitcoin. By the way, included was an address that is an actual Bitcoin address on the blockchain. And there were a couple of items around the home, Mike, that were noted, that were brought up in this email, that potentially only the people responsible for taking Nancy Guthrie might know. So those were the two real big things that stood out from this letter. And, obviously it's a story that has captivated the country as, again, they desperately try and find 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So those key details of something inside the home, though, that really only family members would know about, that's pretty key right there. Michael, when this happened at TMZ today, I mean, what is going on in the newsroom? How fast are you guys talking about it to send it to authorities?
Yeah, immediately, Mike. I think it's, look, obviously, you do this day in, day out, and some stories are bigger than others, but this was a unique situation. I think, I've been 12 and a half years or so here, and I can't remember ever having anything even similar to that happening. So you look at it and you sort of do a double take, and then immediately phone calls are made to the authorities, and everything is handed over to them that needs to be handed over. And then at that point you say, okay, all right, now is this something that we talk about, don't talk about? And obviously now here we are. But yeah, I think just shock and real surprise that you're reading what you're reading, Mike.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, as we continue to look for more details, and really the family of the Guthries still holding out extreme hope during this very difficult time. But as the hours go on, is the thinking here more that this was not a random 84-year-old abduction, that this had something to do with Savanah because of maybe the money she makes, or the national exposure that she has on TV? I mean, what is the thinking here?
Right. Yeah. No, I think I think that's a great point, Mike. And I'm not sure if that indicates that it is or was something that was targeted. It's just a strange situation. I mean, just to have an 84-year-old kidnapped, and at least, again, if we assume for a second that that email is not, in fact, something legitimate, why? Why was this seemingly done? And there were still so many unanswered questions. She goes to dinner, Nancy does, Saturday night with her daughter. Everything is fine, is normal from all accounts, and then does not show up for church on Sunday morning, and people around her and people in the congregation saying something doesn't seem right here, and phone calls are then made, and obviously then police are alerted. It's such a weird and strange case, Mike. And again, I think just still more unanswered questions than we have answers, unfortunately.
Yeah, really, really is, Michael. And last question here. When the authorities were told about this, did they have any inclination? Were they caught off guard? Were they surprised by this? Or was it just business as usual?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think, and I didn't make the call myself, so I unfortunately wouldn't be able to speak to what the tone was. But from what I know, from just being in the room here when the call was made, I think it was a very matter of fact. But I will say, not something I think that they brushed off, Mike, as, oh, hey, this is probably bogus. I think they took it very seriously, and have then taken steps to kind of try and track down where this might have come from.
Yeah, no doubt. Michael Babcock, thanks so much for joining us. Always key details and this new development continuing to be investigated. We appreciate it, as always, right here on Live Now.
Thank you for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Take care, Mike. All right, everyone. We do want to show you what Pima County Sheriff's Department put out just after that reporting did come out of the possible ransom notes. Pima County is saying, we are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes or notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. We encourage anyone who may have had any information or tips to share them via this QR code, and then you can see it right there on the screen. So we will definitely continue to follow every step here on Live Now from Fox. As the new updates come, we will pass that along to you right here on Live Now. We do want to take a 2-minute break. We will be back with more in moments.